Hello and welcome to this India Today, India Tomorrow special, where we cut across generations to bring you a slice of life. And that's literally what we hope today to do, because we are with a unique family that cuts across generations and has been part of Indian life through their various products over decades. And I'll tell you in a moment why they're unique. Joining me today are the family of Parle Agro, because I'm here in their corporate headquarters with Prakash Chauhan, Chairman and MD of Parle Agro, Chauhan, who is the CEO of Parle Agro, Nadia Chauhan is Joint Managing Director and Chief Marketing Officer, and Alisha Chauhan is Director at Parle Agro. So it's a family which is unique, because I don't know which other modern business family has three young women running the show. So you guys are unique in that sense. Have you ever thought about it like that?
Not really. I haven't. But yeah, we have this unique sense where three strong women driving the organization forward today.
Three strong women with one strong man sort of at the top of it. Have you given it up to them? Does the next generation have to run it?
It's totally theirs now.
It's totally theirs.
Theirs. I only have lunch with them. That's about an hour or two every day.
Because, you know, I see you in this golf hat when you were coming in, and I thought you've just come from a game of golf. And that you're perfectly relaxed handing it over to generation next. You're confident they can take the business forward?
Yes, yes. I have this advantage because the others don't have three daughters. I have three daughters. It is a very strong force.
You know, the reason I ask that is because generally the sense is that the corporate world, even today in India, is male dominated. So when I see three women running the show, you ask yourself, are you all unique and inspirational in a way for others who may believe that only the sons can do the family business?
I think that even while growing up, we were never actually, it wasn't a matter of focus, whether we were girls or, or not, and even at work, I don't think it's ever been a matter of focus. We've been raised that way. I think that, going back into memories of even our pujas that would happen, you'd always see the boys sitting at the pujas, and he'd always push us and say, no, you guys have to sit as well. So we've pretty much been raised that way, where it's never been a matter of focus, and we continue our work also like that, not giving it so much attention.
So, yeah, go ahead.
I think that's why we don't see it as unique, as she said, it's because it's just normal for us.
We're just always included, and I think that really matters. We were always included in everything. Even if it was a male-dominant room, the three girls were always put in there, So maybe that's why we never just saw it otherwise.
But is it as easy as you're making it out to be?
I think so, because I don't notice or I don't sense any difference when we are there, and I think the three of us, we complement each other so well that we just really are able to keep it together.
You never thought that at any stage did you have any doubt, will my daughters be able to handle it?
No.
Conservative, old style India would say, where is the son, where is the male heir in the family?
All the girls were trained from when they were very, very young. They spent a lot of time in office, and like today, her son, when he leaves school and somebody asks, where are you going? So he said, I'm going to office.
So dad would bring you to office when you were young? You were sort of brought up in the Parle sort of world, is it? Or universe right from the time you were young, and never given a sense of difference of gender. Gender was never an issue.
Never a factor.
Yeah. So you kept, even from school, would you also come to office?
Yeah, a lot of times. We went to boarding school. I went to boarding school. So whenever I was here in the summer holidays, office was a go-to place, And it's not just about being in the office and attending meetings or doing something. There was always something to do
at the office. I remember a time when he used to have a meeting going on in the other side with all the managers, and I would be on his Mac computer playing Dark Castle. Remember? Yeah, and that was my favorite game. So if I came to the office, it wasn't that, okay, now you have to go, and it wasn't like something that I had to do. I would come, I'd enjoy. It became a sense of belonging. It became home.
I still remember the exact chair we would sit on.
Yeah, the black chair. Yeah, and trying to get through all those rooms. Yeah.
Do women make better entrepreneurs in a way, or do they make better business women? Is there a glass ceiling that exists at the moment, or has the glass ceiling, you believe, completely been shattered? That, your male employees, do they sort of see you differently? You believe, had you all been 3 boys, would you have been looked at differently?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think sex comes into the play.
There's no gender, in business there's no gender anymore.
It's basically ability.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's interesting, because as I said, maybe in an India of 30, 40 years ago, the world would have been seen differently. You're saying women who take over family businesses are just as effective as male heirs in a way. Have you had any difficult, what was the biggest challenge you all had? Was it to just prove yourself when you came back, for example, to take over the family business in a way almost 20 years ago?
I never felt I had to prove myself. I never felt that pressure. I knew that there were expectations, but I never felt that I had to come there and I had to prove myself, because 1, I'm a woman, 2, this is my father's company. I'm the daughter who's now going to be, the new generation that is going to come in. So honestly, if you ask me this question, I never noticed, I never felt I had to prove myself. People who had difficulties dealing with it, that's something that you have to deal with it and not me. That's how I saw things. But I made it easy, I made it easy. It was more that, okay, is it a challenge because it's your father's daughter who's joining the business? I never made it seem like I am the chairman's daughter who's joined the business. I gelled in with the team, So
was there any challenge working on the shop floor, with all these factories across the country, reaching out? Did you all feel you had to prove a point, maybe to dad, if not to the outside world?
Not really. I think that, as a unit, we're very, very focused. So I think that the mind and everything that we were doing was focused on whatever agenda was, ahead of us. So we never really, got distracted by any of these things, even if they did exist. It was really just focusing on what we needed to do, keep moving forward, keep growing the business, very, very highly driven by a growth mindset in general. And like he said, it was really, the focus was on getting as involved, knowing as much of not just where we were, but where we've come from, and then defining really where we need to go and working towards that vision with the rest of the organization as well.
So you all didn't feel pressure? You didn't feel pressure, we've got to prove to dad that, that we are good enough to run the business?
No.
Never, at no stage?
I think the pressure was different. I think he started off with, he just trusted us so much. So it wasn't to prove to him, but it was to also not make sure we don't, let him down, because he trusted us, and from all of us started at such an early age. And sometimes when I think about it, going forward with our children, because we're all so passionately involved, really that ability to trust and get everyone involved, I would say that a large part of our success also comes from that, from his trust and faith in our ability and the ability to take things forward.
Yeah, I think it's just such a natural progression.
Yeah.
It wasn't forced. I think the more pressure comes in when things are forced, but because everyone it was just flowed, and it is what it is, and it is how it is. you know, so.
They're giving you a lot of credit. You're the one who deserves the credit because, you know, you're third generation yourself. Your grandfather built, in a way, Parle, iconic brand, and built it, you know, pre-independence. From us, coming from Navsari in Gujarat, then coming to Mumbai, Gamdevi, starting a sewing business, then discovering confectionaries, of course, the iconic Gluco biscuit, and then beverages. So, is this also in your family that you wanted them to be in the business? Suppose they wanted to do something else and said, we don't want to be in the family business. Were you okay with that also? Or you were determined that my daughters have to be?
Actually, can I,
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I answer that?
Yes.
What I did is got them so involved with the business from the start that they wanted to work here.
Right. So you created that.
It was their eagerness. Like today, my granddaughter, since we couldn't go to start up of a dairy machine, my granddaughter went there. And she did the inauguration of the plant and the thing like that. So the passion is built right from the start. Then if they decide they don't want to, then it is very difficult to train anybody to on that job. Right. But since the passion was there, you don't need anything else.
So you think it's in the blood, in the genes from the time of your grandfather, who starts up and discovers these opportunities in biscuits, in beverages. Do you think this business mindedness is there in the family? Is it in the blood?
It's not in the blood in the sense, if you pick something, see, many times we picked items that we got interested in, not for commercial reason, but because we liked the idea. And that makes a lot of difference. The profit will ultimately come. But if you like the idea, it will succeed.
Yeah, I've often wondered, how did your grandfather discover the idea of that Parle Gluco biscuit?
I was way, no, Gluco, the sweets started as, and I have no idea how it discovered.
You know, but I grew up in the 70s and I had a Parle Gluco biscuit every morning. It was my way of energizing myself. So it was part of everyone's life.
So today if you go to see Gluco biscuits, basic idea is how to get for 2 rupees a packet of biscuits. And that is created a mass market. Like we are following how to create a drink for 10 rupees. Right. And another price point which we are using is 5 rupees. And this is where we get into mass market, where affordability becomes the top priority.
Right. You were saying something about your dad, right? When he spoke about the generation shift. Yes.
Actually, you were asking him that what if somebody didn't want to be a part of the business? And well, I have to say that eventually it comes down to it. We all wanted to be part of the business. But when I started and I wanted to do something of my own, I wanted to be able to build something of my own, my father was extremely supportive. And when it comes down to you know, again, the entire how we were, like how we were growing up within the business, we knew eventually it would form a full circle. But it was a huge, I mean, where his idea was not to force, but he knew that it would find it. We would find it on our own.
Your spaces.
We would find we would find it on our own.
You know, if you look at the family business over generations, it's gone through its shifts and changes. You all split apart. One family went in. One part of the family handled beverages. You handled agro products. Came up with this wonderful drink called Fruity, you know, which again became an iconic drink. Where did that idea come from to create a mango drink in a Tetra Pak? Your idea?
In a way, yeah. To create a one-way package, at that time there was no one-way package. There were no cans, there was nothing. So Tetra Pak looked like a reasonable solution to create improved distribution and to strengthen our distribution still further.
And you didn't have to worry about the bottle coming back.
The bottle coming back, yeah.
You know, so you had all of this to take forward to the next level, because there had been an element of disruption, particularly after the Coca-Cola deal. Coca-Cola took a lot of your beverages away, and then the family split apart. Did that make it more difficult for you in the initial years, or was it easier just to take what you had forward?
I wouldn't say it, at that time it made it difficult, but I could see the kind of pressure that was in the environment and what was going on, because that's the time when I actually just got into the business.
You were thrown into the deep end.
Yeah. So, and I also had to find my way around during that time. But to look at it from a positive point of view, I think I came in just at the right time, because the business was splitting up. We were forming our own entity, which I think, which then allowed us to have our own vision for Parle Agro. That's when Parle Agro, I mean, to have our own vision to take Parle Agro forward.
But if I may ask, was there competition that, you know, Ramesh Chauhan ji is with Thumbs Up and the brands that, and Bisleri, another brother is handling, or another family entity is handling the biscuits. Well, is there internal competition whose revenues are higher, or do you believe all of you have found your own spaces in a way?
Everyone has found their own spaces. So my father's brother Ramesh Chauhan is handling water.
Yes.
Our father handling the beverages, and then you had the cousins who are handling the biscuits. And I think it's a good, healthy, I mean, whole unit, and then you have it all separated.
Because one of the challenges, I guess, in recent times has been old family businesses, when they split, are they able to remain as successful as they were when they were united? Is that possible, you believe? Is it possible to create spaces where there is no internal competition? You all enjoy, in a way, each other's success.
But if they were together, it would have been much stronger. It's always split is not a good idea, but it gives you fresh challenges, you work on it and the thing. But if one was together, then I think you would grow faster.
Yeah, but I find most family businesses, after a few generations, it's almost very difficult as the business gets bigger to stay together.
Yeah, that is correct.
You know, that becomes, that is a huge challenge, I guess. You know, I'm trying to sort of get a sense, therefore, that is the idea of a family business the way you see the future of Parle, or do you believe that it is, you get more and more corporatized and therefore professional? You presumably hire professional managers today who you rely on to take the business forward. Do you see, is the vision as a family business, or is the vision of making it more and more a professionally run company? I know that's a tough one, but a lot of family businesses are very closed. Do you believe you've got to open up to compete with a new world out there?
But the depth that the professional will have will not be sufficient what these two girls got, because they got many years of experience. The advantage of a professional from is thing, he can go from one field to another field to another field. But the depth is what comes more from here.
And the passion, I guess.
And the passion. Now, a professional can be here today, and tomorrow he decides to go. You have to rebuild the whole thing all over again.
Right. Good.
So if they learn how to use the professionals to further their ideas, would be the ideal stuff. So we are a professional company, but headed by family.
Right. That's an interesting way to put it. So how do you all divide it? I mean, is there sibling rivalry? Was there sibling rivalry, or you all found your own spaces amongst each other? How do you divide the business within three sisters? Who does what?
So it's from their ability or character.
Right.
It comes. She's more from market, marketing, distributions, the thing. She's more from the operational front. That's her strength, and that's her strength. So this is how it.
Interesting. And you're handling the CSR,
I handle the CSR.
which is a very important element in today's India, where you're sort of giving back. Give us a sense of what you see as giving back.
So currently the projects that we are doing, we are working with Anganwadis in rural ecosystems. Basically we refurbish and completely transform the Anganwadis, and we provide them with a safe space, a healthy space for the children to be in. We provide them with clean drinking water, playground equipment, educational material. So that is basically, and we're tying it in with recycling. So all our Anganwadis are made of recycled material, from the flooring to internal, external flooring, playground equipment, the roofing, etc. So that is one of the activities that we have, initiatives that we have taken up. The other one is we do upskilling. So we've set up a center in Mumbai itself, where we concentrate on the entire chain, from mobilizing to placement. So we mobilize candidates, we upskill them, or we skill them, and then we place them in jobs.
Right. So you're doing that, you're doing the marketing, you're doing operations. Is there ever any sibling rivalry or any time where you might both have very different views on a particular, how do you settle it? Do you settle it over the dinner table if you have a different view on a particular project that she might have? How do you settle internal family disputes on the business?
Lunchtime.
That's where you're the umpire. You're the umpire who decides. You allow, he's the final port of call.
Yeah.
So whenever you are stuck or you have difference of opinion, you turn to him.
Yeah.
But you've never had anything that sort of has been fractious enough for you to say, we're all, you found a way to work with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
We've, it's been a journey. We've been now working together and kind of found our own magic over all these years working together. Our roles being so clearly defined makes it, makes the whole structure so successful as well. And I think that we all trust each other in the space of our own work. So that's really been, it's helped us kind of move forward together and very productively.
You like to play the role of the umpire? You like to sort of be the final, whenever they are in trouble, they come to you.
Yeah, but don't like to play. I hope there was no problem on it.
So whenever there's a problem, you're available only as a problem solver.
It's hard. Basically, I'm not busy on lunchtime. I'm also free.
But tell me, this is a question that has intrigued me. Was it easier to do business in the 60s, 70s, 80s, pre-liberalization? Or do you believe it's easier to do business today?
It's easier to do business today.
Really? Why?
Yeah. Because market is open, you can do what you want to do, you can get what you want, and you implement your ideas. In the old days, if you wanted to buy some machines, we actually started building our own machines here for soft drinks, thing like that. You couldn't get. There were a lot of restrictions, and almost nothing was permitted to import also.
So it was a more restrictive environment.
Very restrictive. Laws were also not very clear. And today's world is pretty good. Like she needs to get a space in, say, Vijayawada, a plot of land for a factory. She goes onto the computer, goes to the thing, and finds it.
Easier? Do you think it's easier than, have you sort of, in a way, admired your dad and his siblings who had to work perhaps in a more hostile environment to business? Yeah. Easier for you?
Yeah. And also, I think it's so important with technology today. There is so much more, and so you're more efficient, you're more faster. And for him, what is very important, he adapts to the technology. which has been, I think, a very important thing for us also. He's not resistant to it. He is open to it. So he's also been able to do a lot more.
So when you connect all your factories, possibly what, 15 factories across India?
Yeah, 15 factories.
When you connect them, let's say through computers, he's okay with that, right?
Yeah.
He's
good
adjusted
with
to
that.
the
He's happy with
digitization age.
that. Yeah, he pushes us to do it. He pushes us to do more with technology. Use the technology that you have today.
You're a modern man in more ways than one, Mr. Chauhan. You handed over business to daughters. You're completely au fait with technology.
Yeah.
And he's not a micromanager also. He's not sort of looking over your shoulders.
No.
What are you doing, Shona? What are you doing, Nadia? You know, Alicia, he's not looking over your shoulders 24/7.
No, which is...
Good. No wonder you can wear your golf hat and relax. You know, I want to come back to the past for a moment, because I was told that when you started off in the family business, you started off with the idea of making cigars. Really? What was that?
Well, I used to be smoking cigars those days, and when I came back from America, my brother was busy running the soft drinks. My father was taking care of the plants, production, and things like that. So I said, let me do something new. Let me make some cigars. So I went down to Trichinapalli, found cigar rollers, selected a cigar, and we started making cigars called Bengal Tiger. At that time, there were no tax excise on it, and it was an item which was government was promoted. And then suddenly, the excise came on it. From 0, it went straight to 220%.
Wow. This is what, 1960s or 70s?
This is around 72.
This is Indira Gandhi's high tax regime.
And then I realized there is a very sensitive subject, that if a politician went to see cigar manufacturing, you would see highly labor intensive. So it says 0 excise. And if a businessman went to Delhi and smoked a cigar in front of a politician, he says this, he can afford to pay, so you put 220. So since independence, I think 3 times the tax came and tax went out. So at this time, I said it is much cheaper to close this business, because this ups and downs it cannot take.
But have you ever thought of going back? Let's start cigars again.
No. It's still too sensitive a subject.
It's still too sensitive. You know, your dad, I'm told, Mumbai gossip has it, was always ahead of his time. You know, he'd come into parties with a cigar and a drink in hand at a time when all of this was done behind closed doors. He's way ahead of his time. He was thinking of cigars in the 1960s. You know, is he in a way, is this the kind of family you all are, very open about the way you've lived your lives? All of you have love marriages, I believe, in a way. All of you married. It wasn't dad again telling you, I'm going to, you know, I found this lovely guy for you, I'm going to get you guys married to him. None of that. No conservative sort of Rajasthani, Gujarati family from Navsari. So each of you were allowed to find your own lives in a way.
Yes.
I think that's so important, you know. We were each allowed to do what we felt from our hearts and our mind. We were given that independence as long as we stayed in the
within the value system.
Yeah, within the value system. Yeah.
No, but have you all ever felt that, look, I'm spending so much of time at work. Do I have enough time for my family? Am I, you know, being a good mother? Has that ever worried you? The idea of, you know, do I need to spend more time at home with the kids? Is that something you all have thought about, or it just, you found a way? Do you also bring the kids to office maybe?
Yeah, I think all the kids have been in office from the time they were born. I remember Nia was just about a week old when she started coming to office with me and, had a little nursery here. So
Oh, you made her a Parle baby at 1 week old, is it?
yeah. And they've all grown up here. They've all, like office was our playground, it's their playground. They've all grown up over here. And of course that helps as well in being able to achieve this balance. Now they're all much older. So, there are different needs of involvement from our end in their lives versus when they were, much smaller. And I think like you said, we've just made it work. We've just figured out our own, and each of us have our own way of balancing it, our own routine and our own, method to the madness.
Because again in research, I've been seeing you all have a variety of interests. One of you is a horse rider.
Yeah, actually all of us.
All of you are horse riders.
Grew up. I pursue it more now, and also because of my daughter. We gave it all up and then have come back to it because she's gotten into it. But in general, from the time he was 7, he's been riding, and then we were all made to ride from a very young age. And I think all our family holidays at that time used to all be in Mathiran. We used to all be in Mathiran for Christmas, New Year's, whatever it is.
Lovely hill station surrounded by monkeys everywhere.
And horses.
And horses.
This morning we used to go riding. We used to wake up at 6 o'clock for that 6 o'clock ride and the 5 o'clock ride.
Every morning, evening.
Yeah.
It was
it was
set.
something that we...
None of you thought of becoming jockeys, right?
No.
you didn't take... But again, allowing them to sort of express their interests in the way they wanted. Horse riding a big passion with you also?
Yes, and my father also.
And your father. So it's a family tradition of being... Your children also into horse riding?
Her son as well. Yeah.
Very much so.
So, again it comes down to sort of finding these spaces, I guess, so that your life is not just work. How important is that, you think, today, where the world is so competitive? Does work consume you, or does it give you time and space to do other things?
I think it should give you time and space to do other things, because you can't be completely consumed by...
How do you switch off?
I like nature. I like sports. So these are kind of activities that I kind of delve into when I want to switch off.
You just switched off for 10 days. So you went to...
She climbed Mount Kilimanjaro.
You climbed Mount Kilimanjaro right to the very top?
200 meters below the top.
Pretty good.
So I went to the rooftop of Africa, which was Gilman's Point. Right. And then there's another 200 meters that goes to Uhuru, which I was unable to make it. I had a little bit of mountain sickness, you could call it. But it was great. It was fantastic.
So is that the aim, to sort of go to every mountain peak across the continents and maybe sort of reach the top?
I will let you know 1 year later. Right now I'm still recovering from this mountain top.
Okay, so she does mountaineering to switch off. What do you do to switch off?
I think travel is something that we're really, as a family, the 4 of us are really passionate about. So the kids love exploring new places. So we've been, doing a lot of that, and of course horse riding. Right now we've just been also again finding passion in cooking, which happened during the lockdown, and now it's all coming back. So just a lot of activities that we can do together as a family. The kids are young, and I think that just that's how we also get to spend time with them doing different things.
It's interesting because I gather that all of you have now apartments in the same block. So your kids can then hang out together. So this is a joint family in a way, for a new generation. Everyone has their space in the building, but you all live in the same community. Do you believe that's an important thing for the next generation, to also recognize that in a way this is a family that stayed together for a century?
Yeah, I think that's very, very important. And I think that's why it worked for us also, because we were always kept together, and then you have the family, and we even do family trips together, and the kids look forward to that, to be, it's not that, like I know Jahan, my son, when he refers to either Kian or Nikolai or Nia, he doesn't say cousin brother or cousin sister. He refers to them as this is my brother, my sister. You know, and I think it's so important because they get along well together. They also have their own space, and that's also very, very important.
You take him along to the family holidays or not?
Yes.
He's the boss. Does he decide where you're going this?
No, the kids do.
Achha, the kids decide where.
Yeah.
So what next? You know, what would you like to see the next generation do? You know, your grandfather started with a sewing machine in Gamdevi, in the heart of central Mumbai, and then discovered confectionaries and beverages. What would you like the next generation to do? What is your dream in a way for Parle?
Yeah, now from fruit juices we've gone into dairy, and dairy is I think a huge scope. So hopefully the next generation can exploit or take these ideas till.
You know, so you want, so okay, so it's going to be the next big thing is dairy. He's throwing you all a challenge in a way. Is that the way you see it? What next? You know, one of the wonderful drinks you had is Appy. You know, it came and it was a happy drink. A lot of people, a lot of happiness. The advertising was around that, and that in a sense was Fruity and Appy were your babies, or his babies in a way. What's the next generation going to do? What are you going to do with dairying? Have you thought about it at all, or is that for the future?
I think that, like he said, that dairy is a huge opportunity. We're just at the tip of that with what we're currently doing, which is flavored dairy beverages and a few more categories that we're soon to launch within that, all within the beverage space. But when we look at dairy, it can also take us beyond just beverages and a lot of other segments beyond beverages. So I think we're at that very tip, and it's really exciting to actually see the opportunities that lie within the category. And whether it's with us now, or maybe the kids will get into dairy farming later, who knows, and really expand it as we go forward.
Because you've got a lot of multinationals in the areas that you are in beverages. Is that a big challenge to sort of retain market share when you're taking on all these big MNCs? Or are you all ready to take them on?
I think we are used to, because from childhood we've been, multinational Coca-Cola was there always. Right. So we're used to taking up the challenge.
That's right, you took on the Cokes of the world. Thumbs Up still has a huge market share. Yeah. In biscuits also you took on other global brands and won.
So multinational don't seem to put pressure on our system. It's there as another beverage.
Prakash Chauhan is not scared. Multinational se aap darte nahi hai.
No, Parle Agro is not worried about the multinational owner.
Basically, Gujarati entrepreneurs can easily take on multinationals.
Yes.
Right? Or Indian entrepreneurs. Indian entrepreneurs can easily take on multinationals. But your dreams, what's the next big thing? Shauna, have you even thought of what next over the next 20 years, or you don't look, or you want to live in the moment?
No, not in the 20 years, but the next big thing, or today's big thing that we're all constantly focusing on is dairy, because that is a 1-year-old, we've just gotten into dairy. It's new for us. And we have a lot of, a large vision for it, a lot of innovative products, category is large. So that's something that I think the next 5 years is what we're going to be focusing on. And like my father also mentioned, that also putting a lot of focus on being in the 10 rupee and the 5 rupee category, because it is so important for, we are a mass market product. We want our products to be consumed by every class of Indian.
So in fact, you want every village in a way to have a Fruity somewhere out there selling Fruity in every small village of this country.
Yes, that is very important, and that is our vision also. In fact, I was just reading the other day, I think in a couple of months, our population is going to be higher than China, right? So we have a large population to be giving a fruity and smooth to.
Is there a message then to the next generation who may want to enter these industries, that look at India as a mass market? That, you know, while you talk about niche markets and they're important, we're just such a large country. Look for areas where you can reach almost the last village with your products.
Absolutely, and I think that you know, we've really built a very, very solid sales and distribution network all across the country. Every 3 years we've been doubling our turnover, and you know, we'd like to see that continue happening with our existing products as well as a whole lot of new products. I think that there's a maybe glamour, I don't know if that's the right word, but some fascination towards a lot of niche product categories sometimes. But I think that the real joy comes from being able to create a mass market with, you know, massive brands that can go through the length and breadth of India and see that level of acceptance and penetration.
Does he look at the balance sheet every quarter to quarter and say, what is the revenue this quarter? Have we gone up by a certain percentage? Does he set targets for all of you? No targets?
Balance sheet always follows sales. So more concentration is on sales performance.
But you don't monitor it every quarter and say,
Daily
Shauna,
basis.
on a daily basis.
Sales
So he
performance
monitors
is
it.
on
So
a
there is an
daily
element of
basis.
micromanagement.
That she monitors. I'm more in getting our growth rates coming in.
Does he monitor what you're doing in CSR? What are the activities? Does he want to know all that all the time?
Yeah, absolutely. He's always asking about all the initiatives that we're doing, and yeah.
Because that's also something which is different. I mean, I think, you know, this generation much more conscious of giving back. CSR, you know, this idea of giving back to society, I see that it is more and more important, particularly for the next generation business men and women. Do you see that as part of the company's philosophy now, that we have to give back?
So talking about next generation, I think that the next generation is very conscious now as to, you know, in terms of sustainability and the other aspects. And I think that they look at the company also based on what are the activities that, you know, that the company is doing in this aspect as well.
Maybe keep your products eco-friendly, all of that,
absolutely.
much more important than perhaps it was 20, 25 years ago.
Yes, absolutely. So, in our sense also, we're looking at creating a circular economy. So what we take, we give back as well.
So give back to the communities where you have factories, where, you know, work with people.
Yes, so along those around those communities as well. And give back to the communities, to the people that we work with, as well as give back to the environment. That is what we're looking at.
You know, if we were to go back in time to when Mohanlal came in the early 20th century to Mumbai, set up a sewing machine, and today to where you are, what do you think your grandfather would say? Shabas beta, what would he say to the Chauhan family?
It's a good job done.
Saru kidhu chhe.
Saru kidhu chhe.
You think that you have any unfulfilled dreams? Any dream that you still have, or you believe that you've now achieved all that you have?
Dreaming is always the ongoing process. So you achieve this thing, you dream of something else, because it keeps you living.
So is that fruity glass half full or half empty? You're a positive person, you see it as half full or half empty?
It is half full.
And to the young entrepreneurs who are watching this show, as someone who's been so successful, what is the one piece of advice you would give them?
Everything is possible in life. As long as you really want it, you will get it.
And what is, the three of you, what is the one thing you'd like to say to your dad today? Is there something that you want to say to him? Maybe just thank you or whatever for just allowing you to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we're really fortunate to have had the opportunity to get involved in the business so young, always feel at home and really find our own. I'd say our success we, owe to him, and this journey, every bit of it, we owe him for it.
Yeah, and his support is 100% support, no matter what is.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
I mean, and also.
And your mum?
Yeah, my mom, she's been there. I mean, she's kept us grounded. She's like our best friend, when there's.
And even
Mom has
for
played
us
such a.
as mothers ourselves, we were able to do all that we could because we had her supporting us too. So whether it was, the kids pretty much living in her house, a lot of, whether she wanted it or not sometimes, but they would take over her plans.
All the kids landing up at her home.
There.
Well, I think the journey's only just begun. And it's a wonderful journey which has made an iconic Indian brand over the last century. So credit to all of you and more power to all of you. India tomorrow belongs to you. Thank you very much for doing this special interview. That was India Today, India Tomorrow with the Parle Agro family. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.